You can't yell at your checking account and be like, you must have more money.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers on all platforms. Happy to host Tim Shea, founder of LatticeWork Insights, who spends 25 years turning the data chaos behind retail brands into actual growth. Tim, welcome to the show. And I want to start probably to get, to get to know you better. And maybe you can start with a personal story or something from your personal life that most people are not aware of.
Sure. Well, Aiden, thank you very much for having me on the podcast. Really appreciate it. My name is Tim. My company that I'm running is called LatticeWork Insights. I've been running for about a decade. I've been in software engineering and data and analytics and retail and advertising for about 25 years. There's a big chunk of my career that I spent in sales outside of software engineering, selling data solutions into big media agencies. It's a tough job, got a lot of no's. I got one specific no one time where the guy goes, Tim, listen, he goes, what you're selling's great, right? Love what you're doing. But we've got 10 other platforms that do slightly different versions of what you are describing. And so I think we're going to pass on this deal. And I remember feeling crushed, like, no. Like, we'll make it work. We'll download data from all 10 platforms and we'll stitch it together for you. So you guys don't have to. And I remember that moment that security's like dragging me out of the building and like throwing me off onto the sidewalk. And, gosh, I remember just kind of standing up and dusting the banana peel off my shoulders and looking around the, streets of New York City being like, oh, every company is struggling with what this guy's talking about. Everybody's got data stuck in 10, 20, 30 platforms that are like slightly different versions of what's going on in your company. They've got data in Facebook and Google and TikTok, and they're selling on Shopify and Amazon or Sephora. They've got QuickBooks and Salesforce and Klaviyo, and every platform, it's not that they need to be reconnected. They need to be stitched together in just so. It requires domain expertise, like human beings, and no SaaS platform is really going to be able to do that. And this is a big turning point in my career where I'm like, man, people really just do need smart human domain experts to help them do this data integration stuff. They need to build this lattice work to get them to the insight, right? To figure out what the thing is that they should be doing next in their business. And so that was the sort of beginning of LatticeWork Insights. And man, it's funny, in 2018, it's still true in 2026, all those things. Data's fragmented and splintered all over the place. And it's really, really, really hard for people to find folks that can bring it all back together again.
Yeah. So instead of being so focused and on the product or service that you probably wanted to sell at that time, you were quite open to listen to customer pains and don't fall in love with the product, but probably with understanding what customers are looking for and try to probably identify an opportunity for you to grow for on the next stage of your career, right?
That's right. I think brands and agencies, really any company in the world. There's great Lumascapes that show hey, here's every company in this particular vertical. And the marketing tech universe, there used to be 5,000 of them, which was an absurd number of companies to be in the industry. Mm-hmm. But this was back in 2018, and in those 8 years, that number of marketing tech SaaS companies has mushroomed. It's 15,000 of them. Every single day I'll talk to a customer and they're like, oh, are you using blah, blah, blah technology? I'm like, yeah, I never heard of it. I hope it's working for you. And they're like, no, it's not. Right? It's not working for us. It's only solving this one tiny little thing in the company. And at the end of the day, we got to download a spreadsheet out of there every week and jam it together with all the other stuff. And so it's really hard as a founder of a brand to figure out what are we supposed to be doing? Are we doing something wrong here? Why is everything so darn complicated? And the good news and the bad news is that everyone's suffering from that same exact problem.
Yeah. And I read, the content that you post and some of your past guest appearances and other podcasts, and you talk a lot about, average DTC brand has data spread across 10, 20, 30 platforms, right?
That's right.
So what's the single most expensive consequence of that, and what most founders are, never see or miss out because of these complications, right, in infrastructure and different marketing tools? Obviously, each platform provides its own data sources, and it's so difficult to actually first ask the question, what's going on, and second, try to figure out things.
That's right. Yeah, I think that there's like a vanilla answer and like kind of an exciting answer. I think the vanilla answer is that like when you start like Aiden, if you and I were to start a D2C brand like tomorrow, like, and we could do that in the era of AI, right? We can like, start a D2C brand of our own. We would immediately have data stuck in all these various platforms, and we would white knuckle it at
Mm-hmm.
first. We could go raise a seed round. We could maybe raise an A round, and at a certain point, me and you doing this manual reporting work every Monday morning, really, is going to cost the company untold amounts of money, right? The sort of opportunity cost of having usually the COO or the CFO, someone in the C suite is downloading spreadsheets and jamming it together, even if they had an assistant that's doing this work for
Yeah,
them.
maybe they have Claude today to do that, but it's all manual, right?
It's all manual and it's very error prone, and I think it lacks a sort of like larger vision for like what you could be doing with that time and energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the question of like, well, now that we've got all these numbers on screen, we have all these numbers all polished, all nice in a dashboard. And there's this question of like, who cares? And I'm in these meetings today in 2026. I'm in these meetings for people, 20 people, expensive people in a room looking at a spreadsheet projected on the wall. And everyone's saying the cost per acquisition was $10 yesterday, and now it's $9.50. And 2 days ago it was $10.50. And we're just like, it's like reading like the weather report. And so there's a huge missed opportunity, both expensive resources doing manual work. And then there's the sort of like unlock. Like this is the sort of exciting part where you really do need domain experts, people that have been doing this stuff for like years, for decades, to come in and sort of turn the question on its side a little bit. Someone says, listen, Tim, I've been staring at my P&L for the last 5 years, and like it's a stalemate as far as I'm concerned. Like our margins are X, our cost per acquisition is Y, our margin is Z, and we just don't believe that there's any way to move that needle. And we say, well, have you thought about turning the problem sort of on its side a little bit? And this is literally what we'll focus on, is just like these sort of aha moments where folks say, oh, maybe we're a subscription business, or we're a CPG company, or we're selling wholesale, or we have a mix of all those things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it feels like maybe we're a snowflake. And we're like, yeah, well, you're a snowflake indeed. Your company is very unique. You're doing a lot of unique things, and the way that you have succeeded is a sort of unicorn phenomenon. But here's 10 anecdotes of how it's been done in other situations. And here's a huge unlock. Did you guys know that if you could just reduce churn for this one cohort of premium users by like 1%, we found this
Mm-hmm.
one cohort. If you can just get them back to buy like a candle, get them in the door again and give them a gift certificate or a t-shirt or something, just get them that one other purchase. That purchase, number one, it pays for all of the CAC, right, for the last quarter, all of the
Mm-hmm.
CAC. And two, it gives you a second shot at like, and I'm sure you've gone online, you buy like a t-shirt somewhere, and the company emails you every day for the next, 2 years of your life. And you're just like, guys, I don't want to be part of your brand story. This was a transaction to me.
Mm-hmm.
Brands can get that sort of like second real touch point where someone can like touch and hold your product, and they have
Yep.
that aha moment. I mean, it can be a complete step function change in the trajectory of your relationship with them as well as the whole company. So it can be a miraculous thing when data and analytics can be woven together with intuition.
With intuition, interesting what you say about intuition, because so we are at a phase that we understand that off-the-shelf analytics probably stopped working, right? And there needs to be another layer of creativity or right of probably someone who is well experienced and can be creative enough to figure out how to work with data and how to figure out what's working and what's not, and what are the recommendation to do with those insights. How do you approach, and I mean, your new opportunities? I mean, we start working with a customer. What are the steps that you usually do in
Yeah.
order to figure out what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I love the meme of the it's like a picture of like a Lamborghini, like a McKinsey consultant driving off in a Lamborghini, and the text says something like, "Just left the client's office and told them to cut costs and increase revenue." Right, and you're just like they did it again, man. They did it again. And so look, I don't want to be the guy coming in being like, listen, LTV CAC is like the sort of golden ratio, should be the thing that you're focusing on. And lo and behold, it's like increase the amount of lifetime value for all your customers and cut the amount of money that you spend
Hmm.
trying to acquire them. But it's more than that. And we say it oftentimes, like LTV is not a number, right? It's a sort of story. And so yes, certainly we are setting up data pipelines for clients so they don't have to download all the data, right? We're setting up data warehouses for them so they don't have to remodel the data, re-jigsaw it together every single week. It's
Hmm.
modeled in just the way that they are looking for. And we're building reports for them, sure. We put the LTV number and the CAC number in the dashboard. But there's an insights component of what we do. There's a leadership component of what we do. Where we say, listen, it's not just that your LTV is 100. It's not 100. It is not. It's that you've got three different types of users, right? You've got people that bought when the company was young. You got people that bought yesterday. How quickly do these customers buy from you? There are some
Hmm.
customers that buy once a month, and there's some customers that only buy on Black Friday. And the Black Friday folks, you had to give them a big discount. You had to pay a huge CAC premium
Yeah.
to get them in the door. You were potentially stealing your own revenue from October and December because you were selling at 50% off on Black Friday. There's non-recurring events like COVID and tariffs, and there's all this stuff about how human beings behave when they're buying from your brand that need to be taken into account. So it's not that it's, oh, your LTV is 100, it might be 105, it might be 93.1. It's that like it's very nuanced, and until you sort of we can agree on this, a lot of brands get stuck. And when brands come around to this idea of there's many techniques that they could be using to be interacting with customers, many ways to market to them, many ways to reduce churn, many different products and services to get them excited, there's a big unlock moment. And so this aha
Yeah.
moment should come out of it with the like, oh, data driven, but with our intuition and all the storytelling. Great, great. We totally get it. And those brands go on to have major inflection points in their growth. They raise their B round, they get acquired. They experience some inflection point in their growth, and those are the moments that we really like to see.
Yeah, interesting. So you take the traditional, KPIs like the LTV, the CAC, probably AOV, some other parameters, but you zoom in, try to understand how it's been built, right? CAC is nice, but what's the difference between new customer CAC, right, and the traditional CAC, and try to figure out LTV in terms of various product lines, right? Profitability across product lines, try to figure out, right, what's working and what's not, and what are recommendations. So it just they are getting a resource is just digging into the data, right, in a very professional way from your experience and
Mhm.
what you call intuition, right, and just try to highlight the good areas and the areas that needs major improvement, and obviously move the needle, right. So what is the best time for brand or retailers to reach out to you and start working with you?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'll start. I appreciate the question. I'll start with maybe like the wrong times to reach out. And I think a lot of times
Okay.
brands, when they're really young, they get excited about like, gosh, I really want to get a data warehouse. We really want to do analytics. And there's a big question about like, well, maybe you guys should just buy more users for right now. Maybe you should work on product market fit as opposed to building a big spaceship, right?
Hmm.
Building, getting expensive consultants to come in and kind of show you this, new, bigger vision that's going to be really hard for you to achieve at a very early stage in your growth.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of brands, unfortunately, where we just pass. We're just like, you're too young,
Too
you're
young.
pre-million, you're pre-seed. You guys need to go buy more users on Meta before you come to us. I think the time to call now, right? The time to call lattice work is when you feel like your C-suite is spending all their time doing this reporting. Or I think a huge one I see everywhere. This big company, medium-sized company, you name it, is like can we please get everyone to agree like today is Wednesday, right? Like people are just like,
Mhm.
well, it's like we need to get more into influencer. Or another person says, well, actually the supply chain's broken. And someone says, well, the agency said that the cost per acquisitions are way too high. And we're like, we can't do all those things, right? Can
Yeah.
we rally people around a common cause? Because you should be A/B testing, right? We should be still experimenting at each stage in our growth, and we can't A/B test against all of those things at the same time. If the idea is to a friend of mine told me this one. He goes, "You can't yell at your checking account and be like, you must have more money. Like, checking account, can you please have more money in you?" You got to be like, all right, well, there's a leading indicator to that, right? Can we increase LTV? Okay, well, how are we going to do that? Could we increase, or could we shorten the time to second purchase?
Hmm.
Right? Could we reduce the amount of discounting we're doing on certain tentpole events? Maybe there's a cohort of customers that are there's a razor thin margin. What are we doing buying all these users, really expensive users, and feeding them discounts, and they don't really stick around. They're very fickle. Like, maybe let's just stop. Let's just abandon that cohort altogether and focus on premium, users. And so, like, all of those techniques can help people have that unlock moment. But like, yeah, the time to call is when you are, sort of have hit that product market fit, and when your C-suite has become really, really busy, with like tedious manual reporting, and
Hmm.
when there's potentially a feeling that everyone is just sort of like can't get along. The marketing folks don't trust the data folks. The data folks think the marketing folks are too coy, and and they need leadership to come in. And there's a feeling that, like, hey, we don't want to add another person onto our C-suite, but we would love to have someone come in who's got, like, 1, 2, 3 decades of domain expertise in this, in this industry, this niche that we're in, that can tell us, like, well, how do we upskill everybody? How do we get data and marketing to get along?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are usually the times to call.
And you are involved in those, let's say, implementation phases, because it kind sometimes can be like a company wide, different processes that needs to be updated,
100%.
people, culture.
Yeah.
What are the major challenges that you see usually on the implementation side of things?
Yeah, I think there's so again, the lattice work is important and the insights are important. So, there are many companies that don't have a lot of technology. They're running the company off
Hmm.
of Shopify and spreadsheets, and they realize they've outgrown that, and they need to put in a lot more technology. And I'll come in and I'll just implement that, technology stack for them. A pretty common phenomenon is, once we build that technology stack, no one logs in. No one's looking at it.
Yeah.
And there's many companies that bring us on where they say, listen, we've got we already have a data team. We already have the data technologies in place, but it just feels like we're not really using it to its fullest extent. Again, there's this, no one can agree that today is Wednesday problem. Tim, can you come in and upskill the way that we're doing stuff? I'll give a quick example of someone had some super advanced data science, statistical, machine learned approach for,
Hmm.
predicting this thing. And they're like, yeah, it's cool that we're doing those predictions, but every time we roll into a meeting, everyone's talking about p values and chi-squared and this, that, and the other thing. And no disrespect to the executives, they're like, yo, we don't, like, stop saying nerd words to us. Like, is this working or is it not working?
Yeah.
So with that particular group, we reduce the complexity of their statistical approach. We use this thing called pre-post net of control, which is arithmetic, and it helped them do A/B testing in a much clearer way. So when someone looked at the chart, they don't have to have a degree in statistics to interpret what happened. They're like, oh, this is working. This is working in the Northeast, and we're getting $2 in incremental AOV. Like,
Hmm.
this is amazing. We need to go for this. And there's way less debate about all the nuance and, all the, like, I'm a software engineer, so I know the temptation to show everyone how smart you are. But it's like, we're trying to run a business here. You want a trophy? You want a trophy software developer for all the
Right.
things you know? So yeah.
Nice, nice. Tim, you have a very interesting concept that analytics should be funded like an ad spend, right? What do you mean by that?
So look, when we're out there selling, a lot of folks will look at this and be like, sheesh, I didn't know it was going to cost that. All right. Oh man, we've spent so much money on dashboards and technology. We're kind of done spending money on this technology.
Hmm.
And then we'll ask them, like, how much money are you guys spending on marketing? Oh my God, so much, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. I'm like, is it working? I'm like, nah, I don't know if it's working. Like, maybe sometimes, like, but you're still spending on marketing. Like, if you stop spending on marketing, are you pretty confident your company will come to a screeching halt? Well, of course, we have a certain return on advertising spend that we know. We're like,
Hmm.
what about a return on analytics spend? And it's intended to be cute, but like this concept of ROAS, of return on something spend
Hmm.
is super important for any company to reckon with. And we're like, listen, if your return on analytics spend is below $1, then you are doing it wrong. The elite brands that are out there, folks that are just screaming, they're printing money, they're growing like crazy. They found a way to use data and analytics to make them money. And there should be a feeling at every brand that for every dollar you spend on analytics, there should be some multiple of that you're making back in revenue. You should be making $5 on that analytics spend. You should be making
Hmm.
$20 on that analytics spend. And the brands that really do it right are seeing that. They are able to get everyone to agree. They have the technology. They have everyone is in agreement about how to use the technology. They are in agreement that today is Wednesday and the most important true north metric in our company is time to second purchase. And they are A B testing against time to second purchase, and they are seeing incremental improvements in that over time. And they are beating, this is the important one, they are beating their competitors who are stuck in these stalemates, arguing with each other about metrics, um, and they're winning. And so I think that's the sort of big delta is folks that really see analytics as a strategic asset, as sort of like knowledge is power. They're winning that war.
Interesting. Yeah, I love the concept of return on analytics spend, right? I mean, you're investing so much in marketing, yeah, and doing things right after you get some clarity about what's really happening, right? Can do much more dramatic change on your business than probably reaching out to another influencer or spending another 10K right on Meta, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, super important, super important. So how do you see AI just helping you in this process? Is it just more as of an assistance? Is it really intelligence platform?
I mean, look, it's super helpful, I think, in the right hands, right? Like, I don't think I would need to belabor this point to any of your listeners. Like, everyone is so tired of hearing the promise of AI. In fact, there's a
Hmm.
lot of anxiety, not around job loss, but around people feeling like, gosh, Tim, I'm hearing AI can do so much. I keep reading in the Wall Street Journal that it can do all these amazing things. But yet, internally, we're not really seeing it. So we must be missing something. Tim, like, help us catch up. Like, what's the delta here? And I'm like, guess what? No, like, there's a lot of holes in what it can do and its capability set. I think you need really, really smart people to figure out how it works. I would say, like, there's two types of people in AI. One type of person is taking a very like measured, methodical approach, and they're using experts to come in and like architect these new solutions and come up with new processes, and really trying to get it to work in the right way without going crazy. And the second type of users, AI people, are the people that show up to our front doorstep with a vibe coded app, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What happened? We can't get it over the finish line." And that usually those are the same people that are on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram, being like, software engineering is dead, right? Podcasting is dead. We don't need humans anymore.
Hmm.
And they go a little out over their skis, and then 6 months later, they fire all their software engineers, and they're like, I don't understand what happened. Claude built this piece of software for us, and it hallucinates constantly, and there's tons of bugs, and we just got
Yeah.
hacked yesterday. And so, what do we do? And you're like, well, it turns out you need really smart people to make these things work. And so, gosh, it's like a such an amazing new technology that we've received for 20 bucks a month for now. For
Hmm.
now, it's 20 bucks a month. We've got this incredible quantum leap in productivity that we have received, but that productivity could be used to produce like lots of slop. And slop is not cute or anecdotal. Like, companies are, many of them are realizing zero incremental value by using AI tools, and their company is filled with slide decks that are covered in slop. Or
Yes.
they put a chatbot on their website, and the chatbot doesn't help anybody. Or their other code is filled with bugs. And so, we need to be careful with what we call productive and what we don't call productive.
Exactly. I mean, definitely in the analytics and data side of things, because the amount of information is so big, right? It's like huge data lakes of information. We just feed everything to any AI, it will start making decision where where it focuses and where it's not, and you get a result which is not actually taking into consideration all the data, right, in the
That's
deposit.
right.
So, and then you take a decision based on the response from the AI. And I see a lot of examples, of companies and brands just I think they are killing the brand, right? I mean, they're just making very bad decisions, and it's like all over the place in terms of the content, the creative side of things, the decision making around customer journeys and all, and they don't understand what actually happened, right? So yeah, I think we are in this phase of we try to learn what's working and what's not, right? Obviously, we want to use these tools to the extent makes possible, but probably we think that AI is going to do a lot of things. But I guess yeah, it's going to be a great help in terms of, as you said, productivity. But I think we are going to see a lot of things changing probably the next few months, few years, and in the the role and place of all these AI tools within the overall job work and the processes that needs to be in place across the boards in the various departments. Yeah, so Tim, you work on the product side, you also worked on the tech side, but also on the agency. Now you have a consulting company. What are like the people get wrong, right, when they're working with agencies, and when people are just working with the brands from the agency perspective are getting wrong? I mean, there's a lot of challenges in managing a healthy relationship, let's say between a brand, a retail, and an agency. What are your insights in terms of productivity and quality of work between those two entities?
It's funny. Let's say in the last 25 years, there has been so much talk on both sides between brands and agencies. There's been so much talk about the agency model is dead. The agency model is broken. The agencies need to do more with less. And there is some truth to that, right? There is some truth to that. I think oftentimes uh, brands are letting agencies off the hook. Brands are letting agencies away with bad behavior. I think that, like, let's say many agencies are incentivized to win Cannes Lions and not to sell more Nissans. And many people have tried the model of like, well, we're gonna have some skin in the game with regards to sales, with regards to performance. We'll be involved in the performance. Um, Look, I think that there's a time and a place for having a really great agency. Like, I've retained folks myself. I'm a small little company. I retain folks myself. It's like really hard to get content out the door, right?
Hmm.
It's like a very, very time consuming process of getting
Yes.
not just the content produced, but making sure it's good, right? That make sure it's connecting with people and make sure that you have an intuition in the middle that says this one doesn't quite feel right. It's not quite ready for prime time. And so whether you're producing stuff for social, whether you're producing stuff for TV, whether you're doing strategy, doing customer research, it's a really big boon for brands to have an outside voice of like really smart people that can do this work. But I think that there's another bit of it where like agencies are great, marketers are great at marketing. So like, right, you go to a marketer's website and it's just breathtaking. Oh my God, listen to all this they can do. It's amazing. Well, they're really good at marketing, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. Like, as someone who's laser focused on data, there's lots of agencies that are like data driven, data science, data as a service, and they're lying. We don't. And you ask them, you say, hey, can we see some of the data people? And they got them locked in a broom closet down the hall somewhere. They never bring them to meetings. And so one thing that I've been a big proponent of, and anyone that I work with, anyone that I bring onto my team, we talk about this like left brain, right brain, unicorn generalism, is these folks really do need to be a data engineer. Imagine a data engineer, someone who's writing Python and ETL. That person really does need to have an understanding of the unit economics of running a D2C company.
Sure.
They really need to understand what it takes for a marketer to be like on Facebook, like A/B testing different, content. And those people are really hard to find. Those people are really expensive. But I think without that characteristic in your employees, then you're just literally putting a little label, you're putting a little bumper sticker or lipstick on a pig on your existing service. And so if an agency says that they are data driven, I would really like double, triple, quadruple click on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I understand. So, Tim, who is your ideal customer?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that question. My ideal customer, we are looking for retail and D2C brands at a certain stage of their growth, right? 50 to $100 million in revenue and up. Mostly because we think that a company at that stage has hit product market fit and they can use LatticeWork services in a way that someone below that cannot.
Hmm.
Um, I would love to be racking up lots of logos in the like $1 billion and up space, but they don't return a lot of my phone calls. I'm all their voicemails,
Yeah.
but no, like if you're a retailer D2C brand and you're kind of at that, inflection point where you're like, man, this feels like a rocket ship. But it feels like the rocket ship could fall apart like at any moment. And I just can't, I'm a founder of a D2C company and I just can't stomach putting my COO on the task of downloading spreadsheets anymore and arguing with data people about what means what. Then it's time to reach out to folks like LatticeWork Insights, people that have like domain experts in your space, can come in and show you like, give you a refreshing take on what else is going on in the industry,
Hmm.
and really help you use data to your advantage.
Interesting. Interesting. So, how can brands and retailers find you, Tim, and Lattice?
So company's called LatticeWork Insights. You can find us at latticeworkinsights.com. I love kind of having dialogue with folks. So find me on LinkedIn. Name is Tim Shea, CEO and founder of LatticeWork Insights. Reach out, ask me the hard questions. Right, we always the first meeting with everybody that we always say is just like, I know that there's super hard questions on your plate that you're wrestling with, and you just maybe feel like there's not an answer. Ask us those questions. More often than not, we have some sort of refreshing take that we can give you to help you get to the next stage.
Amazing. Anything else you want to add, Tim?
No, thanks so much for chatting. All the stuff that we're working on, all the stuff that brands and D2C brands are working on. These are hard problems. Everyone thinks you could just come out of two dudes in a garage, two girls in a garage can come out after a weekend and they have this wildly successful retail brand, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
The story that I like more than any other story is like, so and so spent a decade working their butt off and now it's working. I'm like, great,
Nice.
stay the course. And brands that are crushing it right now, almost all of them have that story.
Nice, Tim. Really appreciate your time and all the insights. Yeah, double meaning. So thank you so much. Wish you all the best. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Thanks for everyone for listening.
Bye bye.